So once you have chosen a delivery method, what you then next need to set up is your time frame. How long is this coaching program going to be? And you essentially can do anything that you want here. You can have a 4-week, you can have an 8-week, you can have a 12-week, you can have a 26-week, or you can have a 1-year coaching program. You can have your coaching program laid out any way that you want. You have to decide, what content you're going to deliver, and then you're going to decide how you're going to lay that out, and we're going to get into that a lot more. So like I said, once you've decided that delivery method, what you next need to decide is how long the program is going to be. Traditionally, people are going to be doing a 1-year coaching program, and you might be delivering content on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, bi-weekly or weekly, depending on how you set up the structure. Now, once you've decided how long the coaching program is going to be, what you then need to decide is the length of time for all of these meetings. You're going to have different types of meetings. If you have one-on-one coaching calls, what you have to decide now is, are they going to be 15-minute calls? Are they going to be 20-minute calls? Are they going to be 30-minute calls? Or are they going to be 1-hour calls? After you decide that, are they going to be weekly or are they going to be monthly? Because what you're going to do is you're going to essentially build the program from all of this information. If you're doing a workshop structure, how long are these workshops going to be? Are they going to be 4 hours? Are they going to be 6 hours? Are they going to be 8 hours? So again, once you choose the time frame, you now need to choose the length of time. And what you're essentially doing now is you're sitting down and building this coaching program. You're deciding how you're going to have this thing set up. We're going to have a 26-week program. We're going to meet once a week over the phone. Each person is going to get 15 minutes a week. We're going to do a monthly bridge call where everyone's on the call. But what you want to do, and again, I'm giving you all ideas right now, and you want to be thinking about how you're going to lay this out and start penciling in the things that you're going to do. You can always go back in and change it. I don't want you to create anything in stone right now. Again, all you're doing right now is you're building the platform. You're creating a structure. Once you got that structure in place, once we went through this whole thing, then you can really build it. But like I said, I'm just wanting you to come up with some ideas, decide how you'd want to build this thing. Now, once you've chosen your length of time, there's some other things that you need to address. The first thing that you need to address is, this a fixed term coaching program? Does it start at one spot and end at another spot? Or is it a continuity program where people can sign up and just stay as long as they want? And I'm going to tell you the difference in these. There are a lot of programs out there that are continuity programs, and you sign up and you're giving the person $297 a month till infinity, and the person is going to be on the calls and they're going to get the value. There's a big difference in continuity and fixed term. First of all, I told you at the beginning of this thing, you want an application process. You want to screen out people and pick who you want in the group. In my opinion, you should have fixed term coaching. You should coach a person from point A to point B, and that's going to be anywhere from 1 day to 1 year probably. You're going to decide the program that you want to design, but essentially they're going to be in this thing for a fixed term. There's a reason for this, because at the end of this thing, if you've got people in this group that are not the right fit, when you start the new coaching group, you do not have to let those people back in. You do not have to continue to cycle people back through. You need to understand something. Coaching is a 3-year process. I'm giving you a lot of ideas on how to sell this, but it's a 3-year deal. And when you're talking to people, you need to explain to people that coaching takes 3 years to work. And so they're going to be expected to go through your program 3 times in a row, and a large percentage of these people will. But what you do not want to do, really, in my opinion, you do not want to sell people into a continuity program, because you want to pick and choose who's in the group, and you want to maintain that control. Now, there are some drawbacks to this. When you sell a fixed term coaching program, you basically got to consistently be selling, because you're always going to be ending one and starting another one. That's one of the biggest drawbacks to this. But what we're going to do here is we're going to move on to some other areas. Now, the next thing that you need to decide, are you going to allow drop in and drop out? And I'll explain what I mean by that. Let's say you're selling a 1-year coaching program, and it's going to be weekly coaching calls and a bridge call. Are you going to allow people to come into the program in week 5? Are you creating a structure that starts out at point A and ends over here? And what I mean by that is, are you going to be giving content that essentially is structured geometrically, and they're going to have part A before they can go on to part B? Because if you do that, what you're going to do in some cases is you're going to limit yourself. You're going to start the coaching program, and then the people who are in the coaching program, they stay till the end, but you're not going to allow people to drop in. Now, certainly if you have a coaching program that's 52 weeks, they get content every week, and it doesn't matter when they start, the content isn't geometric, it doesn't matter, you're going to be able to allow drop-ins and drop-outs. And that's going to actually help you some. But that's one of the things that you're going to have to think about. So when you're creating your coaching program, one of the things that you have to think about is, are you creating a structure where a person needs to be in there at the beginning? And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Let's say you're doing a workshop format. This is what's going to happen. Let's say you're coaching 100 dentists, and you have the first workshop, and it's 4 hours, and all 100 dentists show up and they leave, and they go tell all their friends about it. You get 30 calls. You got 30 people that now want to come in, and they want to join, and they want to come into session 2. Are you going to let them come into session 2, and are you going to let them start late? Now, the other thing that you can do, I'm going to give you some ideas here. You can have more than one program, and what I mean by that is, you might have a workshop format, but you might have 6 different groups that you meet with quarterly. Because the neat thing about this whole deal is, when you're actually doing a workshop format, you can put a lot of people into a group, and you can meet with a lot of different groups, because you're only meeting with them every 90 days. So what might happen, you might have a group starts in January, another group that starts in February, and so on. And what will happen is, you got the people that started in January, you have someone calls in, they want to start up, you say, look, we're starting another group in February, and you can join that group. Now, once in a while though, you've got one group. You meet every quarter. You meet January, April, July, September. You've already had January and April, and people want to jump in and they want to start in July. What I would let them do, I would say, I tell you what I'll do, I will let you join in July, but you need to commit to next year also, because they're only going to be getting half of the content. And so what you're going to be doing is, you're going to get them to commit for 18 months. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about here is, do you want to be industry specific or non-industry specific? The whole time I've been talking to you all, I've been telling you all, you need to get into a niche. You need to go after a group of people who you're going to market to. Some of you all are not going to want to do that. You're going to want to coach small business owners. And in some cases, you're not going to want to coach 50 dentists. You're going to want 50 different business owners in a room, and you're going to be non-industry specific. We're only going to let one dry cleaner in. We're only going to let one cosmetologist in. We're only going to let one dentist in. And that's a non-industry specific. And the reason for that, you're going to have a situation once in a while where you're going to tell these people how to double their business, and this dentist isn't going to want to be in the group if you've got 5 other dentists. He's going to want to get the content for himself. And the other thing is that you can sell it by that. You can say, look, you're going to be the only dentist in the group that's going to get this content. You're going to be the only accountant in this group that's going to get the content. And so, like I said, that's another great way to sell it. And it's another way to give you all some ideas on how to sell a non-industry specific group. Now, again, in my opinion, you should all niche. But if you're not going to niche, another way to do it is just to do the reverse niche and create a situation where you're going to sell a coaching program, but it's going to be non-industry specific, and you're only going to let one group from any particular business in the group. Now, in addition to deciding if your group's going to be industry or non-industry specific, another thing that you're going to think about is how you're going to deliver content to your group. There are a couple of different things that you can have. You can have discussion-based groups, you can have lecture-based groups, or you can have mixed. Earlier we were talking about someone wants to come in and you've already had one session. Well, I'll be honest with you, if you're doing discussion-based groups, you shouldn't have any problem allowing people to drop in. Now, sometimes what you will have, like I said, is you'll have a mix where you're doing discussion and you're doing lecture. So what you'll do is you will give some content for about 15 or 20 minutes, then everyone will discuss what you actually talked about. Now, earlier on I told you that certain groups are not going to work for a discussion. If you got 200 or 300 people on a call or in a room, that's going to be a lecture type of a group. And what's going to happen, you're going to give content, Some of the people in that group may come up and give content, but there's going to be very little discussion. But we're going to move on here. So what I'm going to do for a few minutes is we're going to talk about naming just for a few minutes. I'm going to give you some of the benefits and what you're going to want to think about here. When we get into the formulas, we're going to give you a lot of different names of other people's groups that you can actually take a look at and see what they're doing. The key to naming your group is very simple. The name of your coaching group needs to specify a benefit or the benefit from being in the group. Look at the Better Your Best contest or the Better Your Best coaching groups. There's a benefit to being in that group because you want to better your best. You want to go out there and take a look at all the different models. You want to take a look at all the different coaching groups, and you want to create a name that, like I said, specifically tells people the benefit they're going to get from being in the group. The Millionaire Coaching Formula coaching group. What does that tell you? It tells you we're going to coach you on how to become a millionaire in coaching groups. So like I said, that's just some food for thought. We're going to get into naming a lot more later on, because what we're going to do is we're going to go over those different millionaire coaching formulas and we're going to start laying those out for you. So what I'm going to do for the next few minutes, we're going to do just a little bit of review, and then what we're going to do, we're going to have 2 discs on marketing. Once I'm out of the marketing, what we're going to start doing is we're going to start discussing processes. This is the thing. I'm going to lay out 3 things for you in this program. I'm going to lay out how to structure it. I'm going to lay out how to market it. I'm going to lay out how to do it. Up to now, what I've been talking about is how to structure it. I've been giving you some ideas. And the reason I told you all, I don't want you really building anything yet. The reason I don't want you building anything yet is because you haven't seen all the pieces yet. I want you to see all the pieces to the puzzle before you start building your group. Because again, I mean, are you going to be discussion based or are you going to be lecture based? That's going to determine what type of program you're going to have. Are you going to have 300 people in a room, or are you going to have groups of 50? Or are you going to have 350 people on a phone call? That's going to determine a lot of the type of content you deliver. And then, are you going to be industry specific or non-industry specific? Are you going to have drop-in or drop-out? All these questions will be answered as you build your group, as you decide what type of content you're going to deliver and the process you're going to create. And I'm going to lay all that out for you. But what I'm going to do for the next few minutes, we're just going to do a little bit of quick review.